So this week we're going to be covering something a little bit different, and we're going to be covering a Pokemon MMO which is named Pokeforce, and which I was lucky enough to test via the spring demo. But without any more rambling, I'm just going to jump right into the video and all the information we have around this. Pokeforce is a fan-made open world Pokemon MMORPG that plans to implement systems from RuneScape and Stardew Valley to help the game have more of an MMO feel. So the plan for Pokeforce is to be much more challenging than the average vanilla Pokemon game, with a battle system that will be based on Gen 7 mechanics, and after experiencing this I do think it's refreshing. It's definitely more difficult, it was quite enjoyable, and I like the idea of it being more challenging and more long-term facing, as that's what you need in an MMO. You don't just want to run through everything. Pokeforce is not yet out and there's no set release date. However, they have just had one of the demos where they invite people to check out the progress of the game, and in this demo they featured their new battle engine, the RuneScape-like skills, the new starting tutorial to introduce you to the systems of the game. None of the progress from the demo will make it into launch of the game, apart from the badges and cosmetic items you can earn for certain tasks within the demo. Now there's also gonna be a closed beta, or has been a closed beta I should say, where applications for that are currently closed. Now if you're looking to play Pokeforce, when they have the demos you'll have to make an account on the website, which will be linked in the description below. Now the one thing I will say about that, the account you make on that forum, it's going to be the same name and account you'll be using for the game. So when you make that account, make sure you do pick the right name, because it transfers in game and is tracked that way. To add to that as well, they're currently not accepting any money, donations or anything along them lines to help with funding. As I said, it wouldn't feel right to accept money without first delivering a finished project, and it's kind of all self-funded, and from what I'm seeing they are extremely passionate and they really are doing good so far. Now when the game does launch it will be available on PC, and the good news, it's also going to be available on mobiles, with Android getting support first and then iOS later. Really good thing they're doing here. It's fairly common these days, but the fact that they are focusing on that really adds to bringing in more players and ease of access. Also if you're at work or you're kind of a bit bored on a train or you're traveling or whatever, you can kind of jump on that. It's also a low cost barrier, and if you're younger folk who maybe want to play the game, I do like the idea of this, and I think it's definitely a smart thing that they've put into play. Now from what I can see, the development team currently consists of 29 members made up of game directors, administrators, moderators, community support, project coordinators, operations manager, game programmers, game designers and social media managers. So I think that is a nice little layout. I have watched some of the Q&As with one of the guys and found it really interesting and quite transparent. I didn't find it deflective, I didn't find much bullshittery or anything in there, and it was kind of refreshing to see that. So the first region that will feature in the game is going to be the Johto region. However, it's going to be heavily customized to fit a more of an MMORPG style. The stories within it will also be fully custom. The game will take place 17 years after the original Silver and Gold games. The class stories and quest storylines will be linear, however players will be able to do quite a lot of exploring and varied gameplay as soon as they start playing the game and just get jumping in. The game will feature the majority of Pokemon from Generation 1, all of Generation 2 Pokemon, and some of the Generation 3 and 4 at launch by the sounds of it. One of the ways they are planning to make this game more RuneScape-like though is bringing in the wilderness area. Now the wilderness area is a PvP zone that will have tons of rare material and resources to collect. They've also got enraged Pokemon and other challenges, and the enraged Pokemon are high level bosses that have enhanced stats and abilities with an aggressive behaviour that will make them challenging to opponents and will grant players special rewards which will be valuable for crafting and progression. Pokeforce also plans to have a class system which will determine the player's main gameplay loop and the class-based story quests, which I genuinely think is really cool. Two of the examples they've give is the trainer class, which will be focused on training Pokemon and completing the gyms, while the artisan class will be centered around crafting, constructing and becoming an economic powerhouse. At the moment they have 5 classes planned for release, which are trainer, artisan, ranger, farmhand and rancher. Now classes will be not changeable and will permanently be tied to your character as they dictate your progression and the storyline. However, they do plan to have class tutorials which allow you to test out which is best for your playstyle, and I do think that is so refreshing to hear. It's so nice that they're gonna have these variety classes, and it also brings in that community because you have to work with other people. It affects the economy, in my honest opinion, in a personal way. And if you're playing in a smaller guild, a larger guild, you can kind of send people out in different directions to specialize in different things, synergistically work together to dominate or be the most prominent within the MMO, or just genuinely for fun and enjoyment purposes. And I really do like that. It's a nice fresh take on the MMO Pokemon genre. Another system that is not normal to the Pokemon game is the skilling system. Now, the skill system is a way that Pokeforce development team wanted to add a variety of gameplay mechanics to give the players a wider range of play. The skill system is compatible to life skills that are found in other MMOs. Upon launch, they plan to have mining, fishing, foraging, farming, archaeology, crafting, cooking and construction, and each skill will have level tiers with different bonuses attributed to them. There may even be special cosmetics tied to hitting max level in the skills, whether that's the similarity to skill and capes or skill and hats or little full sets you can get with maybe perks and benefits, who knows. I do like the idea of that, and that's definitely something they should implement. It's a win-win there. The need system is another system that I think will bring the game to the next level of complexity. The need system will make your Pokemon more like pets than Pokemon. Battling with your Pokemon will eventually wear them out, and you will be required to take time to feed and care for your Pokemon. This system will, however, not affect rank PvP within the game, so that there is a level playing field. They don't plan for the need system to be tedious, they instead plan for it to be an enjoyable experience, but it needs vigorous testing before launch. So to break that down and simplify, they want to make it not like kind of a bore or slow you down because there's no content there. They actually want it to be really cool and enjoyable. Kind of makes sense. We'll see how that's implemented. And also, they don't want this affecting rank PvP. If people go in and they think, oh, I haven't fed this, I haven't done that, they want people to really be able to focus on the hardcore nature of the rank PvP and not fail because of something on the side. So for rank PvP, I think that makes sense. For the open world or wilderness, yeah, it also makes sense to have it the other way. They do actually plan to have dungeons within Pokeforce with legendary Pokemon playing the role of the dungeon bosses. Now, the dungeons themselves will be quite complex with puzzles, tools and equipment specific gates, keys locked and doors, bosses, mini bosses and some other challenges along the way. The legendary Pokemon bosses will have a hefty boost in the stats and abilities, which kind of makes sense to make them a fair challenge for all players, and once beaten or captured, the player will have a unique ability they'll be able to use for a limited time only. So jumping into the experience that the last demo had and the gameplay you've been seeing in the video showed, what was my experience? Well, my experience was I didn't play any other game that week when I wasn't at work, because it happened to drop at probably the worst time, free time wise for me, due to work and other things on the go. But every day I came home from home, I jumped on that game, pretty much played it consistently. Days off I played it, really wanted to beat all the gym bosses, wanted to defeat the dev teams and stuff like that and just test the game out and see what it's about. Didn't want to make a video on it or kind of jump in off watching other folk. I actually wanted to be in there testing, try and see if I could find any glitches, try and see how broken it was, test out the music, the vibe, everything, really actually test the game. I know it was a demo for the experience, but I chose it as a bit of a testing phase to push things, and a lot of the people that I played with also were doing the same things, and it was actually really enjoyable to get on and play that. So personally, I was quite impressed, well, massively impressed with what I saw. Obviously, I did take it on the value of it's still pre-alpha or going into alpha, so we kind of alpha stage or maybe just still pre-alpha. So I took it on face value for an alpha. There was some issues with the battle engine, and the battle engine is new. I think it was 2-month-old, connecting with the servers, because when you go into battles, it's on different servers, different battle engine kind of vibe. I'm not sure the whole technicalities with that, but it kind of makes sense what they were saying, and I understand how they weren't linking. And if it's a new battle engine, I mean, I give them leeway on that. Like, they've got to test shit out. This was probably the first time properly testing with thousands, hundreds of players. During the demo, 90% of the players managed to complete the tutorial, which I was one of them as well, obviously. 251 people managed to defeat the community sport trainers, was one of them as well. That was actually quite enjoyable. And 1700 people managed to obtain the Petal Cloak cosmetic by defeating 3 gyms within the test. And even higher statistics is that during the demo, 7,988 unique accounts logged in to play the game. One thing I will say, there was definitely some issues there because I repeatedly defeated some of the dev team, repeatedly defeated some of the gym trainers over and over again, and I probably would have had that done way faster, but it took a couple of days longer because there was some issues with it not registering. And then when I finally thought I had done it, I was seeing in the Discord that you had to go on and do it again. But obviously at launch things like this would be an issue, but it is a demo, new battle engine, a lot of testing, so it didn't matter to me. I still enjoyed my time there, still got the cloak, still got the badge, you know, they instantly got that. I seen that was tagged by one of my guild members who said if you check the forums. I went over from Discord into the forums, seen it, and thought it was quite nice. So it was definitely worthwhile getting that, especially for when the game launches, and you know, having that limited cloak for when you get in and the MMO drops. But these are good numbers for small testing and not huge advertisement, you know, still quite niche, still very early on in development. The community support and the people that are working on the game, they were in the game as characters with their chosen Pokemon, with their chosen abilities, and only 1%, I believe, was it about 1%, got the badge. But that's still a small percentage, and I genuinely feel like it was challenging, it was difficult. I did end up, like I said previously in the video, I didn't end up having to fight them multiple times, but if they can work on that, and as the game develops, this is going to be a real challenge. And if they can add in little events and Christmas events and Easter events where they've got all these unique little things, it's really custom content, it's really refreshing, and it makes it stand out and feel like a unique MMO of its own. So all in all, I would give it, for an experience based on an alpha, if you want to call it that, because that's kind of what it was, a demo test, I'd say 8.59 for that, not based on a launch game. And you know, the hiccups that went along the way, I think it was a good experience. I think the dev communication is fucking flawless, like they are on point, like seriously on point. Whether or not they can keep it up long term, I'm sure they can if they're developing a game and they're working and they're doing this now. It's probably going to be easier when the game launches and they have a less of a strenuous amount of workload on them. But if they can keep up this pace and they can keep doing this, that is absolutely amazing. So I really do hope the game succeeds. I normally don't do videos like this on the channel, but it's definitely something our guild will be playing on the side as the years go, if it comes to fruition and everything plays out. You never know, but I am really positive about this one, so that's kind of why I thought it deserves a video, deserves some of my time, and the way they've interacted and reacted is decent. They've got a good sense of humour over there. I'm going to leave the links to the forums in my description below. Bear in mind, it is not active now, it's not out, but if you want to get your name, you want to get involved, get yourself in the forums. I'm going to leave the Discord down there as well, and I'm probably going to have some more videos in the future about this, or maybe a Q&A, and I'm going to keep close eyes on this. We've already followed for the news in the channel, so if I stop paying as much attention with their Discord when, you know, June, Chrono, Ashes comes out, I'll still get pings and I can't miss that stuff, so it'll bring me back over. Then I do periodically go through the Discord and read some comments and check out the forums and whatnot. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Hopefully this is something kind of you might play on the side, or something you would maybe jump into long term. People are getting older, sometimes people don't want to go as hard as MMOs as I do. This is definitely an MMO that you could play chill. You could definitely also, by the sounds of it, go pretty hard at it, and I do feel like this could be one of the next Pokémon that has a seriously long lifespan. But without going on anymore, really do appreciate you watching the video. If you haven't subscribed already, hit the subscribe button. Much more content coming. Drop a like, hit the comment section below, let me know your thoughts on the video, and I will catch you in the next one. Cheers.